Hi there. Normally, most of the developers confuse how var and let keywords work. So in this video, we will see how scope of variables work inside block statements. And by the end of this video, you will be able to clearly understand how var and let keywords work inside block statements. So let's get started. In this, I'm declaring a variable named q and initializing it with 10. And after this, I'm declaring another variable using let keyword and initializing it with 20. And after this, I'm just printing the value of q and w onto the console. And now I'm declaring a block statement with a as its label name. And inside it, to know that we are in block A, I'm using console.log statement to print this is block A. Okay? And after this, I'm printing the value of q onto the console. And now I'm declaring a variable named e and initializing it with 30. And after this, I'm just printing the value of e onto the console. Okay? And now I'm declaring another block statement with d as its label name. And inside it, to know that we are in block D, I'm printing this is block D onto the console. And after this, using console.log statement, I'm printing the value of e. And now I'm declaring another variable named w using let keyword and initializing it with 40. And after this, I'm printing the value of w onto the console. And finally, I'm moving out of these two block statements. And here, to know that I'm in global environment, I'm printing this is global onto the console. Okay? And after this, I'm printing the value of e. So now let's move to browser and run this code. Well, even though we have declared variable w twice using let statement, it didn't throw any errors. And it is because this is how our code has been executed. This is a code we have given, right? So before getting into the topic, we need to know that whenever a block statement is evaluated, it creates a new lexical environment. Okay? And coming to the variable environment, well, block statement has its lexically enclosed outer environments, variable environments as its variable environment. So it does not have a new or its own variable environment. Okay? Initially, it creates this global environment. And in it, we have declared these two variables, right? So in this environment record, q will be stored in the variable environment and w will be stored in lexical environment. Okay? And coming to block A, well, it again has another environment. And I have named it block A's environment. And in this block, we have declared variable e, right? And it will be stored in variable environment. And this will be stored in variable environment because these variables are declared using var keyword. Okay? And now coming to block D, well, in this we have declared variable w. And as we have used let keyword while declaring variable w, so it is going to be in lexical environment. Okay? And if you observe these three environments, well, all of these three environments have same variable environment, right? It is because, as I have said earlier, that a block statement is going to have lexically enclosed outer environment's variable environment as its variable environment. So coming to block A, well, it is lexically enclosed inside global environment, right? So it is going to have global environment's variable environment as its own variable environment. And coming to block D, well, it is lexically enclosed inside block A, right? So that's why it is going to have variable environment of block A, which is global environment's variable environment, as its own variable environment. Okay? And coming to lexical environment of these three environments, well, all of these have new lexical environment each time. Okay? And now let's see how variables are accessed inside our block statements. So coming to block A, in this statement, we are accessing variable q, right? And this variable is in variable environment of global environment. So block A has access to this environment. So it is going to print the value to be 10. And even in this statement, it is going to print the value to be 10. And coming to this statement, here we have declared variable E to be 30, right? And it is in the variable environment. So in all of these three statements, the value of variable E is 30. And if you observe this, well, we are accessing it in three different environments. But even then, it prints the same value. It is because these three blocks are having same variable environments. Okay? So now let's move back to our code and print the value of W onto the console in global environment and see what it is going to print. So I'm moving back to our code, and in this I'm printing the value of W onto the console. So now if I move to browser and run this code, see that in the global environment, initially the value of W was 20. And inside block D, the value of W is 40. And coming to global again, it printed out the value to be 20. Right? And now let's see why it did this. And coming to this statement, we are accessing variable W, right? So it is in the lexical environment of global environment. So it is going to get that value and print it onto the console. And it does this because whenever we are accessing a variable in any environment, first it checks its own environment record and then moves to its lexically enclosed outer environments. Okay? And as we have declared the variable in global and assigned it with 20, so that's why it printed 20. But inside block D, we have declared it again and initialize it with 40, right? And as we have seen that every block is going to have a new lexical environment. So the lexical environment of block D is new lexical environment. And whenever we access value of W inside block D, it is going to print the value to be 40. And that's why in this statement, it printed value of W to be 40. Okay. Now let's move back to our code and remove the variable W's declaration in global environment and see what it is going to print. So I'm moving back to our code, and in this, I'm commenting out this console.log statement and this variable declaration. So now if I move to browser and run this code, see that it threw an error saying W is not defined. So let's see why it did this. Well, in this statement, we are accessing variable W, right? And as we know, first it checks in its own environment record, and it is not in the variable environment and lexical environment of global environment, right? And as it is a global environment, it doesn't have access to its inner environment records. So that's why it threw errors. Okay? So in summary, every block statement has same variable environment as its outer variable environment in which it is lexically enclosed in and has a new lexical environment. They work in a similar way as functions while accessing outer environments, which is environment records has access from inner environment to outer environments, but it doesn't has access from outer environments to inner environments. Okay? And catch clause in try-catch statement works in a similar way to block statements. And these examples should give you a clear idea of how scope works inside block statements. And we will see scope inside functions in next video. And if you like this video, please do check out full course on Udemy, where I've explained all of these topics with simple examples that clearly show how these work in different scenarios. I've put the link in the description below, and first 2,000 members will get $15 off of the course if you purchase it through the link below. And if you like this video, please do like it, share it, and subscribe for more. Thank you.